presented a treasured bracelet, a souvenir from her father's trip to Mexico City in the early 1960s. The bracelet, adorned with figures the guest believed to be Aztec warriors, had captivated her imagination since childhood. She cherished it for the sense of wonder and connection to another place and time that it evoked. It is confirmed that the bracelet is indeed of Mexican origin and made of gold. This confirmation transformed the bracelet from a beloved memento into a potentially valuable piece. The estimated value of the bracelet at auction is between
at auction today. I feel like it would probably be somewhere around $2,500 to $3,500.
Brought in a pair of intriguing brooches inherited from her flamboyant grandmother. They are Coro duet brooches, a type of costume jewelry designed to be worn together or separately. Coro, established in 1901, was a prominent costume jewelry designer in the 20th century, and the duet name was actually trademarked by them. The Coro signature and a patent number are visible on the brooches, aiding in their identification and dating. These particular brooches are seahorse-shaped and crafted from rhodium enamel with gemstones. However, there is the absence of the original dress clip fixture, which would have allowed them to be connected as a single piece. Despite this, they could still be worn together, and their value wasn't significantly diminished. The estimated market value for the brooches at an auction is between
At auction today, I would value these between $800 and $1,000.
Oh my goodness. Cool.
This family heirloom included a drum that had been passed down through the family. It belonged to the guest's great-great-grandfather, who served as a drummer boy in the Battle of Shiloh. In the photographs, the first person depicted was the great-great-grandfather, followed by his descendants. The appraiser talked about the drum's significance and his role in military communication during the Civil War. The drum is marked to the 2nd Regiment of Infantry and is adorned with a painted tack pattern. The appraiser highlighted that painted drums were superior to unpainted ones. However, the drum had some modifications, like a drumstick holder, that were made over time. There were also indications that the drum may have been restrung at some point. Additionally, the maker's mark is obscured, hindering identification. Considering the historical documentation, including photographs, the suggested value was
regiment. The drum itself would be a $5,000 drum.
Glazed stoneware crocks, circa 1875, offer a captivating glimpse into history. These crocks were popular for storing preserved foods like pickles and sauerkraut. Salt-glazed stoneware crocks originated in 15th century Germany, where the technique of salt glazing was developed. It's a 12-gallon salt-glazed stoneware jar. Surprisingly, they were made in New Geneva, as large as 30 and 40 gallons. Stoneware is placed in the kiln. Then salt is shoveled in at 2200 degrees, coating the piece in a vitrified glaze. Salt glazing, where salt is tossed into the kiln during firing, creates a glossy surface with an orange peel texture. This small piece, possibly from the 1870s or 80s across the river, was widely popular in Greensboro and New Geneva. The Hamilton and Jones jar from Greensboro, Pennsylvania, stands out for its pottery image. The salt-glazed stoneware crocks, as the appraiser valued the items,
upwards of $5,000, as a wonderful group that has stayed in your
brought a collection of t-shirts onto the show today. These t-shirts were acquired by the guest from various events, places, and people, all affiliated with the LGBTQ+ movement. There are a total of 15 t-shirts showcased, one of which was worn for the Gay Freedom Parade in 1978. Due to its historical significance to the gay community, it is estimated to be worth
between $600 and $900.
Fascinatingly, LGBTQ+ art, material, culture, and items have become highly collectible in recent years. Two other t-shirts featured are the National Lesbian Conference shirt from 1991 and the Proud Gay American t-shirt from 1993, which would fetch an auction value of around
$100 and $200 a piece.
Lastly, 3 other shirts are laid out on the display table. Each of them would be valued at auction for
$2,400 and $4,100 for the collection.
These items are an important part of the LGBTQ+ history in America, and their overall value at auction would be
$2,400 and $4,100 for the collection.
this doll from her mother, who received it as a Christmas gift in 1934. She never allowed her to play with it, only permitting her to see it once or twice a year. It's described as mint in box, meaning it's pristine, untouched, and is in remarkable condition. The doll still retains its original curls and pin. A silk label confirms its authenticity as a Shirley Temple doll. Only idol dolls carry the true Shirley Temple name. Original price on the box was $4.79, and today its value is
would sell between $500 and $650.
Brought the CA 1797 Chester County marriage chest furniture that his mother gave to him in the mid-70s. He stated that his mother got the furniture from someone in Phoenix and gave it to him because of the JOEO inscription on the furniture. The distinctive thing about this piece was the combination of the Welsh, German, and Anglo furniture-making styles. The furniture piece was made with American black walnut wood. It was decorated with original brasses and graduated drawers, while the working mechanism consists of decoy panels with hidden drawers. With the beautiful design and the normal condition of the drawer, it has an estimated value of around $20,000 to $30,000.
From traveling around the world in 1956, today's guest features a Scottish dirk, spore and top, and pistol.
And they had traveled around the world in 1956.
These items seem to be Scottish, with the pistol made entirely of metal, and it's the flintlock type.
These are Scottish items. We'll take a look at the pistol. It's all metal. It's a flintlock.
The pistol also has an engraving titled Thomas Cadell, likely to refer to the gunsmith who made it.
It's made by a gunsmith of Thomas Cadell, and here it's signed on the breech.
A closer look at it reveals it dates back to the 18th century. There also appears to be a Scottish dirk, which is a dagger that originated from the 19th century. The dirk is carved in a basket weave design to beautify it. There's also a sporran, a purse type of bag. With all these features comprising an exquisite piece, it's no wonder it auctions at.
So total you have here really something like $8,000 to $11,000 at auction.
Wow,
a great
that's
Scottish
amazing.
group of items. I'm glad you brought them in.
Yeah, I'm glad I did too.
Talk about reproduction tribal art. These African art objects are perfect examples. These pieces include a Congo-style fly whisk, a Fang berry box figure, and a small Bakuba mask.
This is a fly whisk. It's a status symbol. It's a symbol of authority.
The fly whisk, purportedly made of ivory with elephant hair, is likely a reproduction due to the even patination and lack of wear indicative of genuine use. Although the Fang berry box figure shows exaggerated features, which is likely a reproduction made for sale. Additionally, the small Bakuba mask is suggested to be the top of a Kuba box based on wear patterns. Because of their likely reproduction status, the total value of these pieces is estimated to be.
Unfortunately, the total value of these pieces is going to be more in the $500 to $600 range.
Wow.
Jeans was a gift from the guest's grandmother who lived in New Jersey. The guest family used to gift these beautifully printed pants as a joke to a new bride to see if they could fit in. Look at the printed eave on the pants. Judging from the decade-defining appearance, the pants were dated back to the 1960s. These Wrangler straight-leg jeans were never worn before and had paintings all over them. The guest didn't know what material the jeans were made of. Due to the rarity of the jeans, the appraiser estimated their value at
$400 to $500 to replace them. Good luck with regifting them the next time someone comes into the family. And
Shoes was brought to the guest with an interesting story to share. The shoes were owned by Muhammad Ali, a renowned American boxer. The boxer wore the shoes during the famous heavyweight championship fight, the Thrilla in Manila. Later, Ali's trainer gave the shoes to the guest as they were no longer useful.
And Angelo Dundee, the trainer, took them because they weren't useful anymore. Ali wanted to drop them, so he sent them to me, and I had them autographed later.
The appraiser highlighted the significance of the provenance in determining the authenticity and value. Although the particular shoes lacked documentation, they were autographed, adding to their value. Considering the provided provenance and comparable sales of Ali's boxing shoes, the assessed value was...
We can put a value for these at auction for between $15,000 and $20,000.
Interesting. Well,
Our guest inherited this serpent necklace from their grandmother, who was from the UK. The necklace is a serpent design, symbolizing love, reminiscent of.
It harkens back to the Greek images of Aphrodite with her companion serpent entwined.
It likely dates back to the 1840s to 1850s, inspired by Queen Victoria's serpent engagement ring from Prince Albert. The necklace is made of gold, likely 15 karat, based on English assay standards. It features a flexible serpentine chain with emeralds and diamonds set into the serpent's head. The heart pendant has a chamber on the back containing a panel of hair woven into silk, believed to be from a loved one of the original wearer. Serpents were a popular motif in Victorian jewelry, symbolizing love and wisdom. In perfect condition, this necklace would fetch.
This necklace would bring $8,000 to $10,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a really nice one.
Oh, well.
Acquired by the guest in the early 1970s, this Japanese Meihei period vase was a gift from her husband. The vase, made of porcelain, dates to the late Meihei period, early 20th century, and features the design of a shakukubai, symbolizing pine, bamboo, and plum.
So that's the auspicious symbols in Japan. And this has a very nice decoration.
The vase's tall size is uncommon, adding to its uniqueness. Its decoration indicates it was made in the Arita area of Kyushu, southern Japan. The vase bears the signature Ao, meaning blue in Japanese, possibly the name of the studio or maker. While the appraiser estimated its value at auction to be
$3,000 to $5,000.
It was previously appraised in the 1970s between $30,000 and $40,000.
Because in 70s and 80s, Japanese art was booming. But now it came down, and it's been
$3,000
down.
to $4,000. I wouldn't sell it for that.
$3,000 to $5,000.
Great. Unbelievable.
The guest brought a circa 1900 Plique Azure bowl, which she inherited from her mother, who received it from a friend. Underneath the bowl is a mark of the Norwegian standard for silver and an M. Hammer logo, indicating that the bowl was made by the Marius Hammer Silversmith Company in Norway. M. Hammer Silver Company was one of the most important Norwegian goldsmiths from the late 19th to the early 20th century. Actually, the most common Plique Azure bowls often feature dragon heads and other decorative elements, but this particular one is quite distinctive and rare due to the two horse heads on either side of the bowl, with an interior adorned with guilloche enamel. The appraiser values this piece at around $7,000.
Oh, great. Unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, really.
That's great.
Yeah.
Our guest purchased a paint sample display for $120 in Kansas City. It shows how houses were painted with colorful paints back in the early 19th century. Dating back to approximately 1900 to 1905, it also illustrates how houses were constructed during that era. The images are vivid, the condition is remarkable, and its mechanism functions smoothly. At a potential auction,
$1,200 and $1,500.
Really?
Yeah, really.
That's great.
Yeah.
Lawrence's painting to the auction. The painting belonged to her late aunt, who bought it in 1929 when she was on a cruise to Alaska.
In her will, she wanted things to go to the schools and to relatives and so forth. I then put everything I could into certain galleries to sell. And I went over at the auction and I bought it back. And I paid $3,200 for it.
The painting had a label on its back, showing its name and the date, 1929. The title of the painting was Northern Lights. Considering the label and craft, the painting was indeed Sidney Lawrence's work. The appraiser estimated the worth to be about $20,000 to $30,000, and the guest was happy to know about it.
$20,000 to $30,000.
Then I made a very good investment, didn't I?
You did.
You bet I did.
Yes, you did.
Moved out to the west, they left a seemingly unimportant piece with him. It was a chest drawer from the 1800s.
Ended up with me. My uncle had, I think, gotten a little bit tired of taking care of it. It's a little bit more high maintenance.
The chest was from the Federal period, likely 1795 to 1805. The way the drawers were divided, the chest was indicative of its origin, Portsmouth area, Hampshire. The chest was crafted using a combination of exquisite woods, including mahogany, flame birch, and white pine. Despite some personal maintenance performed by the Guest family, the chest remained in commendable condition. The appraiser estimated this piece to be worth $15,000 to $20,000.
That's pretty amazing. That's cool.
This is a book of season tickets signed by Red Auerbach. It's from his last year coaching the Boston Celtics. Red Auerbach is a legend in basketball. He coached the Celtics for 9 championships, establishing a dynasty in the NBA. It's not just any season ticket book, though. It's signed by the legend himself. The Guest met Coach Auerbach through a close friend. He signed this for the Guest. The signatures, in black marker, look to be in excellent condition. Red Auerbach memorabilia is always in high demand, especially for Celtics fans. A signed item like this is quite unique. The appraiser estimates this autographed season ticket book to be
Price somewhere between $2,000 and $2,500.
Brought 3 posters and a banner from a 1911 movie titled The Mystery of Maine. The Guest acquired the items at a yard sale in the late 1970s for $20. The movie documented the sinking of the battleship Maine in 1898. The appraiser highlighted the significance of the historical event.
The sinking of the Maine was a national event that really gripped the consciousness of America, and by many accounts it was something that was manipulated by the yellow press.
The mark on the posters indicated they were printed by the Courier Company in Buffalo. The posters were printed for promotional purposes and came in 3 different sizes. The one-sheet poster depicted the Maine half sunk in the harbor with a spectacular slogan on top. The largest poster provided a detailed visual narrative of the ship's history. The worth of the collection was
Between $9,500 and $13,500.
That's wonderful.
Brought a classic cell from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, 1938, featuring Dopey, signed by Walt Disney himself. The Guest's great-aunt, Daisy Beck, was Walt Disney's schoolteacher and encouraged his love of art. Disney would visit Daisy whenever he was in Kansas City and had a special reverence for her. Disney rarely signed items, making this cell particularly special.
Los Angeles in the early 30s, when he was still called Walter Disney. Dewey Duck, one of Donald Duck's nephews.
The cell was a gouache on celluloid and was in excellent condition with no cracks or damage. Animation cells were not meant to be preserved, so the fact that this one had survived in good condition was remarkable. Disney may have named his character Daisy, Donald's friend, as an homage to the Guest's great-aunt. Disney's signature added a magical boost to the cell's value, which was estimated at,
well, I think an auction price. In today's market, this cell in this condition would bring about $8,000 to $12,000.
Guest inherited this white jade pendant from her husband's mother. She knows it's a white jade carving, but has no idea where it came from, as
white jade carving, I know not much other than that. We inherited it from my husband's mother.
They once tried to sell it at an estate sale, where it was appraised at $1,200, but did not sell.
Jade carving, I know not much other than that. We inherited it from my husband's mother.
The appraiser reveals it's an 18th century jade pendant made of very pure white nephrite with high translucency, likely made during the Quinlong reign, 1735 to 1796. It features fine carvings with undulating waves and
between the scrolling that's there, and it incorporates all sorts of animal elements. There's birds' heads here. There's an occasional hoof coming out of it.
It's a larger piece than typical for this style and would have been hung from a belt. At auction, the appraiser estimates its value to be at
This would probably sell for between $15,000 to $20,000.
That's better than $1,200.
Exactly.
The appraiser notes it's a good jade piece, and there is very little of it on the market right now.
Object of profound familial significance, this cherished heirloom has journeyed through generations. The appraiser expressed their belief that the table was manufactured before 1900. Crafted with precision, this table has intricate details designed to simulate the functionality of a full-sized examination table. Its adjustable features, including height and limb examination capabilities, demonstrated its versatility as a tool for showcasing equipment to potential buyers. Additionally, the table's ability to transform into a gynecological examination table, complete with stirrups, underscored its multifunctionality and innovative design. Marked with the identifier Allison, the table potentially hails from W.D. Allison, a renowned manufacturer of medical equipment during the early 20th century.
I think this table was made pre-1900, amazing detail, amazing condition, complete in all respects.
Its exceptional craftsmanship and pristine condition, coupled with its completeness, make it a remarkable specimen, deserving of its estimated auction value of $15,000 to $18,000.
You're kidding. I am not kidding.
Barella painted carving, which he purchased to the show. Patrocino de Barella was a self-taught woodcarver who made secular and religious pieces like this one that was often referred to as Santero. Interestingly, this carved wood artwork was created in the 1940s and is done in a three-dimensional sculpture depicting a male figure in a foxhole wearing a helmet, leaning over with his left hand placed on his left thigh, indicating a posture of deep thought and contemplation. The airplane above the head makes up the third part of the dimension. A wrenching emotion is suggested by the presence of a wrench by his side, serving as a symbolic reference which attaches an enormous value to the painted carving. The appraiser values the artwork at approximately $10,000. Here is this John Trumbull print that was brought to the show by this guest who had inherited it from her mother. Beneath the print was a vividly written publishing line, indicating that it was published in London around 1798. Also below that was the title of the scene being drawn on the print, which was written on the death of General Montgomery during the American Revolutionary War. The print was designed by John Trumbull, who was an American artist of the early independence period, notable for his historical paintings of the American Revolutionary War, of which he was a veteran. What makes this print stand out is the quality of the engravings, together with the significance it has in American history, making it quite a valuable print in today's market. The appraiser valued this at around $3,500.
For something sitting in a coffee can for 40 years.
This Grand Tour cameo intaglio was brought to the show by this guest who inherited the piece from her father. Actually, the piece was originally gifted to the guest's grandmother, who brought it to the family and passed it on from generation to generation. These particular intaglios are made of plaster and mostly used as a timestamp or some sort of memory that was purchased by people who traveled around Europe. Each piece was engraved with the historical places, scenes, mythology, animals, famous rulers, and anything that relates to Europe. Apart from being just an ordinary souvenir, this cameo-style intaglio were such a core part of classical education, with each engraving on them traced to the inventory list. Despite missing some pieces among the overall list mentioned in the legend, the appraiser still estimated its worth to be between $2,000 and $4,000.
Wow. For something sitting in a coffee can for 40 years.
Estate sale, the guest snagged a pair of Mickey and Minnie Stife dolls by Disney for a mere $100. The guest acquired them to grow her doll collection and relive childhood memories without worrying about breakage. Crafted in 1930s Germany, these are resilient relics of a tumultuous era. The Stife Company started in the 1880s. George Borgfeldt convinced Stife to produce dolls, and the dolls are of rare, exceptional quality. Fabric preservation and original details are notable and make the dolls excellent and rare.
To be preserved so beautifully. Never seen Minnie retaining her original silk bows on her shoes. And of course, not only do you have the original button, but you have the original paper tag saying Stife Original.
Despite fluctuating market trends, the exceptional quality of the items could warrant a high auction estimate.
$1,200 to $1,500 for the pair.
Oh, okay. That's wonderful.
Beatrix Potter, who was born about 150 years ago. Given to the guest grandfather by Beatrix herself, these books have been passed down and cherished in the family. These 3 books are all signed presentation copies. However, the Tales of Mr. Todd, the first edition, has its spine missing.
It does have the lovely inscription, "For Mr. Edwards, with kind regards, October the 24th, 1912, from Beatrix Potter."
Next is the first edition Apple Dapley's Nursery Rhymes, which is still in quite good condition, and the spine is intact. Lastly is the pie in the patty pan, which is not in good condition. The spine is also missing on this one. These are extremely rare and hold a lot of value to collectors. At auction, this would fetch
£5,000.
The guests found this painting at a garage sale in Sebring leaning against a garbage can. Despite not initially appealing to the guest, it was stored under a bed and later in a closet. The painting is signed and dated 1944. Kelly Fearing, the artist, was part of the Fort Worth Circle, a group in Texas known for advancing European modernism. The painting depicts a scene reminiscent of Edward Hopper with elements of surrealism and a slightly depressing tone, likely influenced by the Second World War. A painting done in watercolor with some gouache is estimated to be worth between $5,000 to $8,000 at auction.
Okay, very good. That's
So
very
not bad.
interesting. No.
And the frame and the glass, $5 maybe, $5.
Oh my goodness.
The guest has a collection of amazing Art Deco compacts, over 500 of them. She started collecting after stumbling on her first compact powder puff in 1973 and has been collecting ever since. The power, the speed, the excitement, all of these pieces speak volume of the sensational Art Deco era. This one is pretty unique. The elegant workmanship makes it stand out amongst the rest. And this is a beautiful little thing that comes with its own original bill of sale.
Sale, Theodore Foster, silversmiths, 1 vanity case, 1921. Yep. $50.
As a collection, some of these are very special and extremely valuable in a collector's market. However, at auction, the collection would be worth
£100,000.
Oh my goodness.
auction, not knowing its true worth. This lamp was left to him by his mother. It was a beautiful lamp with painted peacocks on its shade.
There is a gold finish on the white metal base, and this does look very much like onyx.
Guest wasn't sure if the lamp was a handle because it didn't have a signature.
Yes, in fact, is a handle. I actually found a reproduction of an original drawing from the 1924 sales catalog.
The lamp was signed on the underside, and its name was described as an 18-inch decorated Taroma glass shade. It was designed by one of the lead designers of a company, Henry Badigi, and had a reverse painting technique used on it. The appraiser put a value of $10,000 to $15,000 on the lamp.
Oh my goodness.
Purchased at an auction in Chicago in 1974 for $1,000. The etching, titled Christ Before Pilate, was created by Rembrandt in 1636. This stood as one of his largest etchings. The appraiser explained the significance of the Latin inscription Cum Preville on the etching.
For printmakers from the 15th century onward to put that on their etchings, their engravings, basically in honor and deference to the ruler of the area.
The scene on the etching depicted a dramatic moment, including a self-portrait of Rembrandt within the composition. The guest also mentioned a watermark at the back of the etching.
The letters are IHS. It's the name of Christ watermark. Yeah. And that's a 17th century watermark.
Confirming it was painted during Rembrandt's lifetime. This significantly added to its value. The appraiser estimated the worth to be
$60,000 to $90,000.
Oh my goodness. That's wonderful.
It was brought by the guest. It belonged to her grandfather, who enjoyed photographing beautiful women. The collection comprised the first 12 issues of Playboy, including the iconic first issue featuring Marilyn Monroe. The appraiser highlighted Hugh Hefner's entrepreneurial spirit in starting the magazine. His magazines included works from renowned authors, such as Ray Bradbury and Jack Kerouac. Despite the moderate condition of the magazines, the value estimated for the collection was
$2,500 to $3,500.
Oh my goodness.
So,
goodness. I can't believe it. I can't believe that.
The guest brought a Mario Sabo lounge chair, circa 1968, which she and her husband purchased from a store in Pentagon. Mario Sabo was an Italian furniture maker, known for crafting furniture for luxurious homes worldwide. What is interesting about this chair is the way it was structured in an egg-shaped design, made of white fiberglass with orange plastic from upholstery, which represented the futuristic piece of item that was designed in the late 1960s. The avant-garde outlook of this chair, with its pierced sides, is not something people can come by often. making it one of the most sought-after pieces by collectors. Also included is its color combinations of white and orange, which further showcases the distinctiveness of this furniture. The appraiser values the item at around $3,000 to $4,000.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe it. I can't believe that.
Our guest inherited a drawing from her aunt Eudora Welty, a renowned Southern writer and Pulitzer Prize winner. The drawing was selected by the guest and her husband while going through Eudora's belongings. Initially, the drawing hung in their son's bedroom, but was later stored under the bed due to the lack of space. Upon deciding to visit Antiques Roadshow, the guest researched the artist and...
He was a German artist known for his caricatures. He fled Germany in 1933 and came to the United States.
The artist, George Grosz, was a German caricaturist who fled Germany in 1933 and came to the United States. The appraiser, a fan of Grosz, confirmed his background, noting Grosz's involvement with the Dadists and
involved with the movement called the Dadists. In 1932, he was offered a job in New York teaching at the Art Students League.
Grosz moved to the U.S. to teach at the Art Students League in New York and continued his career there. The drawing is in charcoal, showcasing Grosz's style, and is estimated to be worth...
I'm at an auction estimate of around about $10,000 to $15,000.
It was under my bed?
Yes, under your bed, indeed.
It will not go back under the
Good.
bed.
On to the show by the guest. It was purchased by her great-grandfather in the early 1900s. The painting had the signature of Adam Emery Albright and dated 1902. The appraiser provided background on Albright, born in Wisconsin and studied art in Chicago and Philadelphia. The artist's work depicted realism and impressionism in his work.
He mixed up his realism with impressionism as well. Painting is a nice example of both those things.
The painting showed three boys, likely Albright's sons, in a very idealized bucolic setting. The painting exudes a nice arrangement reflecting his realism. The value estimated by the appraiser was...
At auction, I would expect this to fetch somewhere in the $8,000 to $12,000 range.
Wow.
Collections of porcelain and platters displayed on the show add a touch of elegance to a table setting. The guest acquired them from his mom's estate, and this collection was made in the Limoges region, France. At the back, we can see the Limoges trademark visible. Interestingly, these collections of items date back to circa 1900, a period when fish sets like these gained popularity.
Fish sets are not popular. Collectors do not like them very much. If they're really gorgeous like this, they will display them.
Included in the collection is a wonderfully crafted plate, a sauce boat, and a platter, all adorned with fish designs. This item's individual wouldn't be worth as much as a set. In such good condition, they would fetch an auction value of...
So for your large set, a retail price would be somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000, which is more than the sum of the parts. This is actually one of the best sets I've ever seen.
At a garage sale for $20. She bought it because of the Indian Motorcycle Company sticker. But the appraiser corrected her, saying this is a Buddy L toy. It's one of the most desirable Buddy L toys, the Buddy L bus. It was made in the late 1920s in Moline, Illinois. It's fabulous but a bit rough. It's missing wheels, but people do restore these. Even in this condition, it's worth more than $20.
It is worth a little more than $20. Easily $800 to $1,200 at auction.
Wow. A piece of art with a fascinating backstory. Quite fascinating, this piece was painted by Ruby, an elephant who lived at the Phoenix Zoo and became famous for her painting abilities.
Who was the painting pachyderm. She resided at the Phoenix Zoo in Phoenix, Arizona.
This particular charger, a large decorative plate, features a painting created by Ruby.
Arizona State University School of Art.
It's a very fun piece of pachyderm art, as you said.
The art is characterized by bold, colorful strokes, showcasing her distinctive style. Ruby used her trunk to hold the brush, resulting in abstract patterns and vibrant compositions that are both whimsical and expressive. However, this charger is a piece of art history, representing the intersection of animal behavior and creativity that's worth...
Advise you on an insurance value, I would put an estimate of $1,500 on it.
That's wonderful.
Antiques can be very tricky. And some deals are too good to be true. The guest purchased these bronze sculptures at an auction for $2,500.
Where did you purchase them from?
At auction.
All in the same auction?
All in the same auction.
Of the 4 bronze sculptures, 3 were made supposedly by Charles Marion Russell, and the 4th was sculpted by Frederick Sackrider Remington. Unfortunately for this guest, none of the sculptures proved to be originals from these American artists. The sculpture attributed to Remington is mounted on marble and bears a plaque, which is unlikely to be Remington's work. The Russell bronzes were crafted very delicately to fool buyers.
Quite as good as the examples that we have documented of Russell's work. Each of these artists with Fred.
All the sculptures presented are not original and were made sometime after the deaths of these iconic artists. Although not originating from the artist, the Savage replica is a fine piece valued at
auction is maybe worth $300 or $400.
2 of the small Remington sculptures are both estimated to be worth
hundreds, if not thousands, of examples out there of the later casting.
The cowboy sculpture, a depiction of the old Western tradition, is valued at.
And they're bringing between about $300 and $500 at auction.
Yeah. Look at this delightful sword. It is a Revolutionary War sword from around 1770. The blade is made of high carbon steel, typical of the period, showcasing a slightly curved design, which was favored for its versatility in both cutting and thrusting. The hilt of the sword features a handguard crafted from brass or iron, designed to protect the wielder's hand during combat. The grip is wrapped in ray skin, providing a firm hold, and is often accented with wire for additional grip and aesthetic appeal.
On the outside of the guard. Right. That's because it was a necessity that they get these swords into service.
However, this sword represents a piece of American history that reflects the period's military technology and the tales of the Revolutionary War that's worth.
So the value is down. There was a time this same sword would have brought $6,500.
Inherited by the guest's father from his great-uncle, who was a missionary in China from 1922 into the 1950s. This is a Chinese export painting dating back to the mid-19th century. Export paintings have distinct physical characteristics that identify their origin. This painting features a series of trading ships and brown structures. The frame attached to this painting is not the original. Looking around the edge, you can see a line which indicates the picture came in a smaller frame and the original would have been black lacquered with a gold trim around the edge. Such beautiful export painting, featuring flags and a series of Western trading ships, would be worth at auction.
Well, I think at auction, you could expect to get somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 for this picture.
Came to the show with a collection of Mickey Mouse pictures that Chuck McKimson jokingly drew for her back in the 90s when she was working at an animation art studio as a Disney collector. The guest recounts a good relationship between her and Chick McKimson, and how he would write her a letter and do a little cartoon at the bottom. Chuck McKimson, also known as Charles McKimson, was a celebrated lead animator at Warner Brothers Studio who was celebrated for developing the Tasmanian Devil character, Speedy Gonzales, and many others. The incredible thing about this archive is the bit of having the real Chuck McKimson work on paper, and the fact that it was a mix of Disney and the Warner Brothers characters together. The price of the small Christmas and Easter cards would auction for around $300 to $500, with the larger watercolors estimated between $1,500 to $2,000.
Wow. Wow. Well, I would never sell them because
Were owned by the guest's great-grandmother. The set consists of 2 botanical illustration volumes titled Hortus Aestheticenus, meaning the Garden of Ystad. In the early 17th century, the Bishop of Ystad created a garden with plants from around the world and
hired a pharmacist from Nuremberg named Basilius Besler to create these volumes to record his holdings in his comprehensive garden.
Besler, along with 10 engravers, spent 16 years producing these volumes. The books contain over 1,000 plant illustrations of 600 different species with 367 plates in total. Published in 1613, these books are prized for their aesthetic qualities. Only 300 uncolored copies were produced, with some hand-colored for noblemen. Despite minor repairs, the books are in excellent original condition, making them very rare. A complete set like this is valued at a price of
A set like this, if it were to be offered at an auction today, would probably have a value of $250,000 to $350,000.
Presented a family heirloom loaded with history. This is a Chippendale desk from the 1780s. Although it's not highly valuable due to its present condition, its history makes it special.
Papers. It had often money in it, and all those things were locked inside. Let's start by opening this lid. You know, these are called loapers?
Loapers?
L-O-P-E-R. You do slide it out, and it holds up things. So
Yeah.
you used to have a brass lock.
Inside the desk is a letter written by the guest's great-grandaunt in 1913. The desk features beautiful inlays on the side and magnificent tulips used as repairs to join the case sides.
I use my pointer to open this. Do you know that there's something in here?
No.
You've had it how many years?
I've had it about 7 years.
And you used to visit it at your mom? You grew up with it?
My mom grew up with it, sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
she never showed you this. Watch this.
It's as much a historical document as it is a piece of furniture. Despite its feet being cut off and the brass replaced, this historical desk still has a worth of.
And the value at auction would be $2,000 to $3,000 in this market. That would be the estimate on it.
Thank you.
The owner cherished a piece from a Portuguese flea market, a gift from a friend starting an interior design business. The guest bought it for $500. In the late Qing Dynasty, 1644 to 1912, China saw a surge in silk production and weaving techniques. A Chinese silk panel from around 1880 would be a stunning testament to the craftsmanship and artistry of its time. Silk panels from then feature intricate embroidery and classic motifs like dragons, phoenixes, flowers, and landscapes. These boys hold banners celebrating the upcoming marriage and symbolizing future generations. The craftsmanship would exhibit intricate detailing, highlighting the artisan's exceptional skill. These panels were often used decoratively, on walls, furniture, or in traditional clothing like robes or dresses. Admiring the intricate embroidery and delicate hues, the appraiser values the Chinese silk panel.
What if I said $4,000 to $6,000 at auction?
That she inherited from her grandmother. It was a pottery that was part of a larger school of Mississippi German ceramics, established by German immigrants who brought their skills and styles to America. The jug was attributed to Jeglin Pottery, founded by John Jeglin, a German immigrant who served in the Union Army and started his own pottery. The jug dated back to around 1870 to 1880 and featured a unique snake design with 3 snakes and intricate carvings. The jug was in mint condition and considered a little gem in the world of folk art and Missouri pottery. The appraiser noted that collectors of folk art and Missouri pottery would be particularly interested in this piece. A similar jug was housed in the Missouri State Historical Society, further verifying its authenticity and significance. The jug's value was estimated to be
today's market, $4,000 to $6,000.
No way.
Way.
The guest's father joined the Marine Corps and was sent to Beijing, China. He commissioned a set of silver as a wedding present for his sister. Now it is used at dinner parties because of its interesting dragons and stories.
Insurance purposes, but all I could find was if I melted it down, what would it be worth? And I thought, oh.
Silver set was made by the Ling Company in Beijing in 1938. The original purchase receipt is dated December 21, 1938. Guest's father was photographed outside the Imperial Palace in Beijing. Box is large and heavy, and its design and space indicate Chinese origin. Notably, the Chinese lock plate, and handles are distinctive features. The Chinese market for silver items has been growing steadily. Despite being made for export, Chinese buyers show interest in buying such items. At auction, the silver set could fetch between.
At auction, I think that this would have no problem in selling for between $6,000 and $8,000. So it's quite a big increase.
Intriguing painting was presented on the show by the guest, who received it from her husband, and it has been in their family for generations. The painting is a stone mosaic commonly called Pietra Dura.
Specific name for that. Okay. It's called Pietra Dura.
Originally from Italy and dating back to circa 1870 to 1880. Depicted in the painting is the scene of a joyful man clenching onto his bottle, with a couple more bottles set aside. Additionally, this exceptional painting boasts vibrant colors and depth. An item in such pristine condition, with such an interesting history, would have significant value at auction, estimated to be around
At about $5,000 to $7,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Well, I think you've got a lot of beholders today that would agree with you.
An original painting from 1836, this piece depicts the guest's grandfather, William Foss, and his wife, Polly, who are buried on the family property. Painted by Joseph H. Davis, an itinerant painter known for painting local people, this piece is one of the few still with the same family, spanning 5 generations. Davis was active in southern Maine and New Hampshire from about 1832 to 1837.
And that sort of corresponds with the date that we've got here.
The painting showcases Davis's skill in pattern, line, and color, notably seen in the detailed floor cloth and the depiction of an old blacksmith shop with
With a man making a wagon wheel, which is, to my knowledge, and I've been doing this for 30 years.
The painting includes details like the family's cats and a holy Bible, adding to its charm and completeness. Previously appraised for $5,000 in 1975, the appraiser believes it could fetch
$40,000 to $50,000.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Well, I think you've got a lot of beholders today that would agree with you.
Just brought in a remarkable historical piece, a mourning maternity dress from the mid-19th century. This dress is extremely rare and difficult to find due to its limited production and the challenges of preserving them. What made this dress even more unique was the combination of its mourning design and maternity purpose. Traditionally, mourning attire was black, while maternity wear was expected to be colorful. The dress was likely created quickly out of necessity for a special occasion during a family member's mourning period, which could last up to a year. The unique characteristics and historical significance of the mourning maternity dress translated into a substantial value worth between
$2,500 and $3,000.
At a recent auction, however, the value appreciated to $3,000 to $3,500. Brought in a treasure trove of historical documents related to her great-grandfather, Phil Margetts. Margetts, a pioneer in Utah Territory, wasn't just a blacksmith and a wine merchant. He was also a celebrated actor, considered the first prominent Mormon actor in the region. There is a citizenship certificate from 1857, a photograph of Salt Lake City, and even a small portrait of him. This photograph is of Margetts in character, performing as Mr. Toodles. These visual snippets were captivating, but the true gems of the collection were the letters. 3 handwritten letters from Brigham Young, the leader of the Church of Latter-day Saints, were particularly significant. The content revealed Young's strong support for Margetts' theatrical endeavors, even providing financial backing for the development of the theater. This other letter, penned by Margetts to his wife, captured a pivotal moment in history: the looming arrival of the United States Army in Salt Lake City. Margetts, in his letter, dismissed these rumors as nonsense, a viewpoint eventually proven wrong. Beyond the correspondence, the archive contained playbills, Margetts' personal diary, and even handwritten scripts. These items not only shed light on Margetts' career, but also provided valuable insights into the cultural landscape of Salt Lake City during that era. Recognizing the immense historical significance of the collection, the fair market value of this collection is,
with a fair market value of $100,000 to $150,000.
Are you kidding me?
Not at all, no.
had an amazing stroke of luck. He found this beautiful and valuable antique chair at a garage sale for just $2. The chair's features are really impressive. The worn leather top, the through tenons, which is a construction detail typical of Philadelphia chairs, and the aged color. These elements all pointed to the chair's age and quality. It is a circa 1770 Chippendale Philadelphia chair, a significant historical piece. The chair even has the original yellow pine seat frame and markings indicating it belonged to a set of chairs. This little mark here shows that it is chair number 1 from the set. The estimated value of the chair is around
about easily $1,500. Easily $1,500.
Painting from the 19th century. It's one of the greatest works from its era. The beautiful image you see is Beatrice Sensi, a Moroccan girl caught with family issues involving murder, mayhem, and incest. The painting of the young lady was made by Guido Reni before she was executed. It's fascinating to know that the painting was a central attraction to tourists who visited Rome in the 19th century. Many Americans and Europeans traveled to Rome to have a look at the painting based on the story they heard about the young lady. The paint was made in different copies, and people took it with them to their location. The particular one brought for appraisal at this show is a copy of the original, but it's unique because of its original and American frame. The painting at auction can easily sell for an amount around
probably about $3,000 or $4,000 for I've sold them before, but again, it's something we see all the time, and it's nice to be able to know what it is exactly so they know that it's a real copy of it to an old master and not an original.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you very much.
Brooch was presented on the show by a guest originating from New York and crafted by Sam Kramer. This delicate item features a green pearl in its center and is made from silver. It serves the purpose of holding garments together. One might wonder how much such a well-crafted item would sell for.
And I would say this piece was probably made somewhere around 1948, 1950.
A portable table that can be folded, revealing intricate details. The piece was Anglo-Chinese furniture that reflected the cultural exchange between China and Britain during the colonial era. The appraiser praised the fine workmanship and inventive design, expressing admiration for its creativity. The value estimated for the item was
$2,500 to $3,500 for it.
Years ago from a friend who found it in a dumpster. The guest friend exchanged it for a camera. The book was titled A Voyage of Discovery. The appraiser identified the book as a historical piece by John Ross, chronicling a search for the Northwest Passage. The book featured original binding and beautiful colored plates within. It also contained an engraving of the ships. Although the binding may have needed some restoration, the book's condition was deemed very good. What would be the value of this valuable item?
Worth $3,500. It's a great book. Keep going in the dumpsters. Yeah.
Were brought to the show by this guest, who inherited them from his father. The furniture was made by two different designers. Doe and Hazelton of Boston crafted the desk, and Bembe and Kimball made the chair. The entire set of furniture was designed by a renowned architect named Thomas Walter. Thomas Eustace Walker, the fourth architect of the Capitol and considered the Dean of American Architecture, was responsible for adding the north and south wings, as well as the central dome. The desk and chair were used by the Congress of the House of Representatives and were in use from 1857 to 1873. What's interesting about this piece is the historical precedents surrounding it, which we can infer from it bearing the United States shield in oak leaves, while the sides were adorned with laurel leaves, stars, and a skirt. Getting the chair and the desk together is quite unusual, and in this case, adds to the overall value of the furniture. The appraiser has valued the furniture at approximately $40,000.
Really? Well, that's very nice.
Were presented on the show by this guest. He acquired these old archives from his father. One of the showcased items is a map depicting the town of Leadville and the locations of mines. Also presented are some papers from the chrysolite mine that belonged to Horace Tabor. Tabor, known as the Silver King, was an American prospector and businessman whose success in Leadville, Colorado's silver mine made him very wealthy. Included are the incorporation papers, signed in 1879, with the legal seal visibly intact. Another item in this archive is a check endorsed by Tabor. Furthermore, we also have a ledger book presented, mainly containing day-to-day expenses and mine activities. This archive is a wonderful piece of Colorado history, very well kept and belonging to an important figure. At auction, the value of this archive would be around
I would say that it's worth $40,000 to $60,000 at auction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a treasure of another kind.
Yes.
The show today is a chamber pot. Inside the chamber pot is a picture of William Edward Gladstone. Gladstone was the Prime Minister of Ireland. As with chamber pots, it was made using various materials, which included ceramics, porcelain, metal, and even wood. This piece is political.
Be about $1,000 to $1,500.
A political piece of this quality would go for 19th century. Our guest on the show inherited this violin from her grandmother.
65 and then settled in Philadelphia a couple years later. He was certainly the foremost American violin maker of his time.
It was crafted by the renowned violin maker Charles Francis Albert. Born in Germany, Albert later established himself in the United States and is widely regarded as one of the finest makers and restorers of violin. Crafted in 1877, follows a French style largely because of the Paris Exposition of 1878. Unique features include the female head crafted as the scroll on the violin, and the design on the back indicates an attempt to replicate the Brescian Italian style of the 16th century. Along with the original medal from the exposition bearing the artist's name, this artifact is valued at about
$3,000 range, perhaps $3,500.
That's great.
Received a watercolor painting as a wedding gift from their father and stepmother. The artist, identified as Walter Baum, was part of a Pennsylvania artist group. It includes artists like Edward Redfield, Walter Schofield, and John Folsomby. They focused on painting Bucks County landscapes in a blend of realism and American Impressionism. Baum was renowned for painting outdoors and was passionate about his work. They discussed the story of how Baum used to attach his painting gear to the car and paint outside, even in bad weather. The appraiser pointed out that the painting was inscribed with Pennsylvania Scene, Posensack, 1955. The cherished wedding present's value was appraised to be around,
I think at auction in today's market, it might bring something like $8,000 to $12,000.
Oh my word.
Item is not just a mere figurine. It's a captivating glimpse into the rich heritage of Chinese export artistry. Standing proudly at around 1 foot tall, this exquisite figurine depicts a young boy with stunning precision.
They probably told you it was a pipe because on the back here, there are a number of firing holes, even in the top of his little head.
It is adorned with vibrant famille rose enamel accents that breathe life into its intricate details. It's holding a symbolic scepter that represents wealth and happiness. The figure, clad in elaborately patterned traditional Chinese clothing, is a masterwork of craftsmanship due to its vibrantly painted pink, purple, yellow, and green colors. The figurine is more appealing due to its funny stance, even though its feet are hidden. This export item, which combines excellent craftsmanship, historical resonance, and bright aesthetics, perfectly captures the Western infatuation with Orientalism in the 19th century. Despite its initial purchase price of $49, the appraiser values it between $600 to $800 at auction, underscoring its significant aesthetic appeal and historical importance in Western decor.
So I'd say you did pretty well. You have a happy little guy to look at also.
That's great.
Put it in the bank.
The guest inherited beautiful gold jewelry pieces from their parents, who were good friends with the renowned Mexican silversmith Antonio Pineda. While Pineda is known for his silver work, these pieces were uniquely crafted from 14-karat gold, making them extremely rare.
Antonio is known for a modernist style, which was extremely popular in the 1950s through the 1970s.
The ring here has 2 blue stones. One is a natural Australian sapphire, and the other a man-made sapphire. While this is a huge smoky quartz, the necklace ends gracefully in a pearl which wraps around the neck. The pair of cufflinks has some golden citrines, square-cut stones, and this is a green beryl. The total retail value of the collection is remarkable.
$12,800.
I think I better put it in the bank.
Pruschter Goblets was brought to the show by this guest, who had inherited it from her glass collector grandmother. Otto Pruschter was an Austrian architect and designer who was a member of the all-important arts and crafts movements, from the Secession to the Wiener Werkstatt and the Werkbund. These award-winning glass pieces changed the wine glass-making landscape and won many honors in global expositions after they were designed in 1907 and produced by Bakalowitz Company. The intricate and difficult process involved in crafting these goblets makes them rare and adds significant value to them. The appraiser valued these goblets at around $6,000 to $8,000 each.
Each?
Yes.
Wow.
Each. Thank you for bringing them.
Thank you. I'll keep the cat away from them. Thank you.
Brought in a treasure trove for vintage guitar enthusiasts, a Fender Stratocaster with an exceptional pedigree. The accompanying bill of sale, dated 1956, hinted at the guitar's age, but the true revelation came from the serial number. Examining it, the guitar was identified as one of the earliest Stratocasters ever produced. likely crafted in 1954. This wasn't just any Stratocaster, it was an instrument brimming with originality. While the guitar had replacement knobs and pickup covers, possibly due to the brittleness of the original ash wood, most other parts remained untouched. It's worth pointing out the exceptional quality of the ash wood used in the guitar's body, highlighting the unusual straight grain that resembled a violin or acoustic guitar. Considering the guitar's early production year, its near original condition, and the enduring popularity of vintage Stratocasters, the valuation is placed between
$50,000 and $70,000.